Welcome back to part 2 of our revenue management series. My name is Peter Smyth, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of White Label Storage. In this video, we walk through a spreadsheet you can use to run existing customer rate increases. The ECRI process is a critical piece of revenue management because it's the process that allows you to get tenants that came in on promo rates up to those aggressive proforma rates that you put together. But it's not without its drawbacks. Moving rates on tenants can create customer dissatisfaction, churn, and a pretty nasty negative review cycle. We talk about that and more in our video, and like we did in part 1, allow you to download a spreadsheet to run your own analysis. Let's dive in. Okay, here is our ECRI template. Like we did last time, we want to start by populating the information that is relevant and specific to our facility. In this template here, anything that is electric blue signifies something that will be hard-coded or that is an input or driver of the formulas in the model. So it's not keying off of anything else. It needs to be plugged in by you or pulled from some other, maybe your facility management software or a report that you have. So we've got today's date, name of the storage facility. Right here we have the unit mix. So these are the unit types, which by the way need to be perfectly matched over here. You're now populating the storage units in your facility with the tenant, the unit number, and the type here. This needs to match this column here. F needs to match anything in column A so that it can actually key off that and pull the street rate which we need to refer to drive our formula. And once you've filled all that stuff out, the formulas can actually key off of that. So that's step 1. Okay, step 2 is determining our ECRI drivers, the first of which is term eligibility. In this case, I have set 9 months as the term minimum before a tenant is eligible for an ECRI increase. If anyone is standing at the same rate for 9 or more months, we're going to look at their rate and assess whether we're going to increase them. The second lever, these two go hand in hand, is a minimum increase on their rate. So in some cases, operators will not move tenants higher than street or market rate. So if you're in a rate that's $105 and your rate is either 105 or more than that, operator may leave you be. In this case, I'm at least going to put the formula in where no matter what, you're going to move the greater of 8% or $8. The obvious breakpoint there is $100 on that. If you're less than $100, then the $8 threshold is going to be higher. If you're more than $100, then the 8% threshold is going to be higher. And then finally, I've put a cap in here on increases. We use that at our facilities. We don't ever want to push anybody more than 50%. So in the case of this ECRI that I've put together, if you're a tenant, we will move you a minimum of the greater of 8% and $8, and we will never move you more than 50%. But what we're looking at is where you are in relation to street. So if you're at $50 and street's at 120, we would move you to 120, but the cap will cap you at moving you $25 or 50% of your current rate. Moving somebody more than that is going to be perceived pretty poorly. It makes for pretty bad review, so we do want to put those caps in place. Okay, so the last step in the process here is going through some hypothetical tenants and seeing how these levers impact their rates in the context of an ECRI analysis. We'll start with Marshall. Marshall here is in a 5x5. His last rate increase was February of 2025, so his term is less than 2 months. And therefore he's not eligible, and his new proposed rate is the same as his current rate. You can see that is the same thing for Andrew, whose last rate increase was January, so we'll skip down to Patrick. Patrick's last rate increase was February of 2024. That's a term of at least 13 months, so he is eligible. In column L here, you can see the minimum, which is $8. Again, it's the greater of 8% and $8. The next test is what is street? Street is 75. So the proposed rate is 75, and then we test it against the rate cap, which is 50%. He happens to be right up against his rate cap, so we push his rate $25, and his new rate will be 30 days from now, $75. Send him a rate increase 30 days before the new rate, and hope he doesn't move out. Now we're down to Edwin. Edwin, last rate increase was also February of 2024, but he's prepaid, so we zero out his term and he's not eligible. Moving down to Orlando here. Orlando's in the 10 by 20. He's just eligible for increase because he's been there just 9 months. His rent rate is $162. Street for a 10 by 20 is $175. Which is also the minimum. So we're going to push him $13 up to 175. Moving down to Matt. Matt is eligible. His rent rate is $173, his in-place rate, so he's eligible. Let's see here. Yeah, he's pretty close to Street because Street's at $175. So in this case, the minimum is going to drive his rate increase. The minimum here is 8% because it's more than $100, so 8% is going to be greater than $8. So his new proposed rate is $186. We move his rate. I'm rounding each when we send out rate increases, we usually do it in a whole dollar amount. So we round to $14. Let's try a few more here. Let's see. We'll go with Roger because this is one where the rate cap will come into play. So Roger's in a 5 by 5. He's eligible. He's paying $25 a month. So the minimum increase is 23. That will not come into play because the model wants to drive him to 75. But 50% of 25 is $12.50. So we're at $37.5 as the new proposed rate, and there you have it. So let's go up top here. Up top, I've created a sum of total increases. That's $130 in this case. And the number of units impacted is 6. Let's just double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we are. Remember, you can crunch these, move these levers around and crunch numbers a bunch of different ways that makes your facility look like it can be performing way better than it is. But these are real tenants. So, we put some of these caps and minimums in to try to be thoughtful about the analysis. But, if you have a facility where you've never done ECRI before, you probably want to roll this out in waves and see how people respond. You don't want to create a ton of churn at once. And you may want to be ready to negotiate with tenants. If they're going to move out, you might be willing to hold on a number or actually sort of come to some sort of agreement. Have your customer service or in-store managers understand what they're allowed to negotiate on. That's it.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful and you now have a new tool you can use to maximize revenue at your property. See you next time.